Well, first off, I want to thank you for taking the time to talk to us, and we'll right into it. So first off,
Dude, thanks.
oh yeah, no problem. First off, I just want to introduce you. We're talking to Evan Stanley of the band Amber Wild. How's it going today so far?
It's great, man. Everything's good. It's been a good one, and it's a little better now that I'm here.
Yep. So first of all, I mean, I've been looking into the band some wise, and I haven't really found anything. So I usually typically don't ask this question, but how did the band name come out?
That's a long and secretive story. I don't think we have the time for it here, but we got together earlier this year in January or so, and it kind of started with us just wanting to play as much as possible. We're a live rock band. That's what we love doing. And when we found each other, it was just kind of clear, like, all right, this works. This is a good vibe, and there was chemistry there. And that's kind of what all of us looked up to in our favorite bands was, great players, great songs, but that extra intangible kind of thing, whatever that thing was. And that thing, I think, is how the guys play off each other. And that's what we always wanted. And when we found each other and started playing, it was like, all right, I think there's something here. So we just wanted to get to playing as much as possible anywhere that would have us.
So how do you, for people who haven't listened to you, how do you explain the type of music and the sound that you guys are trying to emulate?
We're a rock band, man. I think, what that means exactly nowadays, I don't know. And most genres are I don't know what most genres mean nowadays. There are some subgenres and offshoots that, like, I don't know, just come out to a show and you'll get a vibe. Listen to stuff, you'll get it. I think it's pretty clear where we're coming from. We're just a real live rock band. That's kind of our thing.
So you guys have had those singles come out, the Breakout and the Silver. How have those been? How's the fan reaction to those songs been?
It's been great. When we put those out, especially with the opportunity we had, because it was really, really incredible to get to open for Kiss on that run. That's insane. It was such a just incredible opportunity, and an honor to be the opening band on that last run. And we wanted to make sure that when people left, they could hear kind of the range of the band. So we wanted to put out two songs that I think, at least at that moment, captured kind of the bookends of what the band does. And we all thought Breakout and Single were both pretty good, goalposts that show kind of where we're at, and everything else is somewhere between those two, at least at the moment. So the reaction's been really great. It's been awesome. We've noticed, especially in the last really 3 months or so, since September, we started kind of leading up to the Kiss tour. We got a few really cool opening slots and festivals, and we've just been building momentum since then. And we're just grateful for the people that keep coming back and telling their friends about it. And it's been really amazing to see the reactions and to just get to connect with that many people. That's what we got into it for. We love playing music, and so much of music is just about connections, connecting with other people, and to get to do that constantly and consistently is just really, really awesome.
Yeah, I was lucky enough. I was able to cover the Baltimore show when you guys opened up for Kiss, and I was like, oh my God, these guys are awesome. You guys had a hell of a set. I loved it.
Well, thank you so much, man. I appreciate that. That was a fun one. It was a really fun show.
Yeah. So people who, I mean, unless you're living on a rock, obviously know that your father is Paul Stanley from Kiss. When you started going into making the music, did you kind of like try to not completely want to sound just like Kiss? Was that kind of like a discussion, or?
I think, well, no matter how much you try, you're never going to be some other band, whatever that band is. Like, you got to pull from a lot of different places to make a sound that's your own. So I don't think there was ever a danger of that, because what we all listen to and where we all come from is a pretty wide range. The set of influences of each member of the band is really wide to begin with. And when we come together, getting 4 vantage points, I think that really helps keep things not only fresh, but it helps you stay out of that danger zone of sounding like any one band. I think any band where all the members draw their primary influence from one place, you can only be so good, because at the most you'll be kind of a watered down version of that. I think all our favorite bands, or at least all of mine, pulls from a lot of different places, and that's when you get something that's really special. And that's what we're trying our best to do is, pull from all the places we love and bring something a little bit new to rock, or at least a little bit of a new combination that maybe you didn't hear this and this before,
Oh yeah, I mean that was the thing about like when like I said, seeing you guys live. It was like you could tell that you had a little bit of inspiration from the Kiss, but it wasn't, you weren't trying to be another Kiss. It was, completely still very far away from each other. That people aren't just like, hey, this band's just trying to be like, like this and like that. And that's why I love that sound. Was wondering, what other influences, other than, obviously Kiss, did you have growing up listening to and to make the sound you wanted to do?
Well, all of us are so varied. I mean, I grew up loving like Green Day, The Killers, Foo Fighters, obviously like the Beatles. Zeppelin is one of my favorite bands ever. The Who, Tears for Fears, a lot of new wave stuff, and a lot of '90s stuff. I kind of caught the very tail end of that. So at that point, it was all a little like, I don't want to say older, but it was all like my friends' older siblings were into like Pearl Jam and Nirvana and all that stuff. So I caught a lot of that. And then, I know Jake grew up with like a ton of metal, and then Marsh grew up listening to a ton of indie stuff, and then like Robert Palmer and a lot of Def Leppard and Priest. And then Tommy grew up all over the map too. I mean, he was listening everything from like Gordon Lightfoot to Korn. So, we're all kind of like that, where we pull from a lot of different places. And that's something that especially T and I bonded over early, because we met first in the band. Thomas Lowry is the drummer, and we met at a diner, and we were just like, okay, we clicked. This is a good vibe. We played together, and we really clicked. We're like, all right, this is something. And we'd always just end up in one of our cars blasting music. And, we're both real rock guys, but I think it was probably the first time we hung out. We were eating, and T was like, you like Gordon Lightfoot? I'm like, fuck yeah, I love Gord. And it was like, all right, this is good. You know what I mean? Like, we all pull from a lot of different places. So I think that helps, just helps inform what we do, and it helps us hopefully bring something at least a little bit fresh to what we're doing.
Yeah. And then when you're doing the lyrics and stuff, what do you try to inspire you to try to write, like what you write?
It really depends. Every song is different, whether it's capturing what I'm feeling in that moment, or something that we're seeing, or, T is also really good with lyrics. He's always pecking away at stuff. So sometimes at like 4 a.m, I'll get a long ass text that's a full lyric from T. And I'm like, this is great, dude. So like, it really depends. I mean, it's always different. Sometimes it's, what do we want to hear people sing back to us? Like, if we could get them to sing this, it would be really cool. And then sometimes it's like, damn, I have to write this because it's for me and I need to get this out. And sometimes it's a story. It really, as long as it connects with us, we hope it connects with someone else. Yeah. So it's always different. But the one thing they all have in common is they mean something to us. We believe in them all. They're all true to us. So, whatever that means from the inspiration or how it started is almost irrelevant. It's like we believe them, and hopefully people will respond kind of the way we do.
Oh, yeah. And then, like you were saying, you were on that Kiss tour, and you said you were a newer band. Putting the Kiss part of it aside, how was it like playing Madison Square Garden, that last show? Just like the vibe.
Absolutely incredible. I mean, what an opportunity. That was unbelievable. I mean, I got no words. It's like, I could try every word in my vocabulary to describe it, and I'd still come up infinitely short. It was just a wild, really surreal moment, because I've seen so many shows there. To be on stage looking out is like, whoa. It was crazy. And
go ahead.
No, it's amazing. And to get to share it, one with my dad, was amazing. It was, it's a big, big moment for him and the band, and a big moment for our family. And, get to share that was really, really just wonderful. And to get to share it with the guys, all the guys in the band, we're super tight. We're lucky. A lot of bands are functional, but like, I love the dudes. If I'm not with at least one of them every day, we're on the phone constantly, texting constantly. It's like, it's a nonstop conversation, and, it's always something. We're always hanging. So to get to share that with them was amazing too.
Yeah. So, where do you go from, being where you are a band and having that stage and having that experience? where do you set the bar now then for the band?
No matter where you're playing, you gotta play. You gotta play like it's an arena. I remember we played in Seattle, and that was like we did like it was like 18,000 people there. And then a few nights later, we were in Edmonton, and we played to 12 people. And I don't mean like 12. I mean I counted. There were 12, and we played the same. You can't punish the people who showed up for people who didn't. You want to put on the absolute best show you can and connect with them so they leave going, what the fuck? Why weren't there more people there?
Yeah.
It was great for us to get to go from playing a huge show in Seattle to a small but, decent show in Vancouver, and then a good one in Calgary, and then a tiny one in Edmonton, and then another slightly bigger but teeny one in Saskatoon, and then a good one, a good size one in Montreal, and then back to the Kiss stuff. It's like, it was great because it kept us sharp. It was a reality check of, not everything is going to be this. Where do we go? We go back to the clubs and grind it out like everyone else. We're a small, totally independent band, so we were given an unbelievable and wonderful opportunity, and we learned a ton from it, and we connected with a lot of people, it seems. But now it's like we go right back to it and try and work our way back up, because now that we've had that experience, it's like, I'm going back. I gotta. We all have to. Like, so now it's just time to work, time to play and write and keep going.
Yeah, so I've going into this too, I've done interviews before with relatives and parents and kids of bands and stuff like that, and I talked to Calico Cooper about Alice. So like most people, your dad was famous, and when you're growing up as a kid, you're kind of like, oh yeah, that's my dad. When was that? Was there a moment that you kind of finally realized how famous your dad was as a kid?
I think it took me moving out of the house and moving to New York and realizing I'm 2,500 miles away and I live on my own, and I'm seeing his face on billboards. I'm hearing people talk about him all the time. I was like, oh, okay, so yeah, this is really big. It kind of set in then of just the enormity of it all. Was like, oh yeah, this is a whole different scale. I didn't even realize.
Yeah, and then with the band and all that, if there was, not saying as an opportunity, but if you had the choice or chance to do a Kiss cover, would there be a song that you would prefer to do as a cover?
No, we wouldn't do a Kiss cover because Kiss did those songs.
Yeah.
So they've already done them. You can't out Kiss, and they're great songs, and there are a lot of Kiss songs I love, and there are a lot of Kiss songs all the guys love. But would we do a Kiss cover? No, never. Just because there's no point to it. It'd be a novelty.
Yeah.
I'd much rather write another and do our own.
Yeah.
So that's kind of where our focus is being the best us that we can be and putting out all of our stuff. Because, Kiss has been around and they've proven they connect with people. Now it's our turn to prove that we can connect. And to do that, we got to put in a lot of work and keep playing and get a lot more stuff out.
Oh, yeah, I enjoy that too, especially because it's almost cliche for a band that has a famous parent to kind of do that song, and then it's like, but then when you do something like that, it's kind of like, well, you got to prove like you said, you got to prove yourself that you're real, you're an real band, and get to your fans and stuff like that. So to me, it's almost like it's better off not, like you said, not doing a cover.
Yeah, I think, again, if you put a really fresh spin on a song, a cover can be cool, but it has to make sense and not just be as a novelty. I think that would, inevitably, if we covered a Kiss song, it would detract from what we do, and it wouldn't be Kiss. So there's not really, I don't think there's really much of a point. And, we're so focused in our own stuff now, we got too much of our own coming up to, distract from that.
Oh, yeah. And then I also read recently, because I just did an interview with Doro, her birthday is in June. Yours is June 6th, I heard. Right?
Mm-hmm.
My birthday is June 4th, so I've been trying to connect to everybody who's kind of close to in that same June time. So I was like, oh, that's red. I was like, oh, he's a Gemini too then.
That's it.
So speaking of that, so you're talking about with the band and stuff like that. Have you been writing stuff for new stuff coming out for 2024?
Yeah, we got a lot more in the pipeline, and I think the first thing that'll come out is probably a live single, because we're really a live band and we want to show people, even if you can't make it out to see us right away or if you didn't get a chance yet, we want to give you a feel of what a live show is with us. So we got multi-tracks of every show we played, and we're going through them now and going to decide what we want to put out. But we have a pretty good idea, and that'll be, really early in the new year. Get a live single.
No, yeah, and then because it's getting close to the holiday time, I always ask a question that deals with the holiday. So since it's almost Christmas, do you have a favorite Christmas time movie?
Ooh, Elf.
Elf.
Or Die. Elf and Die Hard. I've been watching both a bunch. My girl and I just, ever since I got back from tour, we've watched either Elf or one of the Die Hards every single night. It's ridiculous, but I love both those so much.
And then me also being a horror person, I don't know. Are you into horror movies?
Yeah.
Is there a Christmas horror movie you like? You like to to lean towards?
Ooh, I don't know what is a Christmas horror movie. What good Christmas horror movies are there? I'm not sure.
Oh, there's like tons of there's lots of Christmas horror movies. Yeah. There's Silent Night. You want to go old school like Silent Night, Deadly Night, and stuff like that. Technically, if you want to be, Gremlins is almost a really,
Gremlins.
Yeah, Gremlins is almost a Christmas horror movie because it's very.
Let's go with Gremlins.
So
what was it? Silent Night? What? I gotta check that out.
Silent Night, Deadly Night. That's the one from the '80s.
Okay, cool.
And there's Krampus.
Yeah, I saw Violent Night the other night, which it wasn't really horror, but it was. That was fun. That was surprisingly good.
Yeah.
All right, Silent Night, Deadly Night. I gotta check out.
So also, whenever you're talking about connecting to the band and stuff like that, how did you guys all meet your bandmates and stuff like that? Like, how did you guys all kind of click? Because I know I've seen you before when you played with the Dives, when you came to Baltimore one time with that band.
Yeah.
So how did you guys come to form this band together?
I kind of lied to an agent and said I had this killer band and sent some music that I had kind of produced out that sounded like a band. And she got us a good club gig in LA, but I didn't have a band. So I was like, fuck. And then I was scrambling because I had like less than 2 weeks to figure this out. And I'd seen Dear Boy at the El Rey with my buddy Jacob. And we went to Mel's Diner after. And then a friend was there with her friend Thomas because they had just seen Danny Elfman. And we met up and we were hanging out. And I'd seen T play before. I knew he was a killer drummer. And we just hit it off. And with this gig coming up, I texted him a couple days later. I'm like, you want to jam? And he's like, yeah, for sure. And we just really clicked really quick, clicked really, really well. And it was, just a real vibe and the feel. We just locked. And it was like, all right, this is it. And he knew Marsh. So he brought Marsh in because we need another guitar player who can sing. And he was like, I got the guy. He's amazing. And he is. We played and it was like, Marshall's ridiculous. He's so great. And then we were playing with a different bass player for a minute. And we needed we kind of needed to find the right fit. So we were just texting a ton of friends. And my buddy Frank was like, you should meet Jake. And then Jake came over one day and we just clicked and it worked. It was just, we were really lucky where from the beginning, it's kind of all been about vibe. And if it took us a sec, like any band, at the beginning we were trying different songs and different things. And, we kind of had a direction, but it took a sec to come into focus. But the one thing that worked was the chemistry early on. Like, it's like, okay, there's definitely something here. We just got to chip away and find out exactly what it is,
Yeah, I was gonna say when you're writing the music and writing the lyrics, is it all four together, or does somebody have an idea and then everybody kind of pitches it to each other, or?
It really depends. A lot of the songs I've either brought in done or close to it, and then we'll finish them up. Marsh has brought stuff in. T and I have written stuff together. Tommy writes great lyrics, so there have been a few things. He'll just like text me a bunch of lyrics, and it's like that gets me running, and we've gone back and forth, and everything's different. But the one thing that's the common denominator is whether it's a song that I brought in finished or a song that we started from scratch together. They really come to life when all of us play them, because that's what I think sets it to me. Kind of over the edge a little is that chemistry between us is like that's what we've always been kind of going for. And ideally, the the product is greater than the sum of the parts, and that's what we always strive for, and try and each bring a little extra to the table that hopefully makes the songs better.
Oh yeah, and that's the one thing you were talking about, chemistry. Even just seeing that one show when you guys played in Pierre, Baltimore, it's I know you guys are a newer band, but it had seemed like you guys have been playing for 10 plus years, that you guys were really just like kind of co-accepted with each other, and you guys were all like just vibing off of each other. It seemed like a fully seasoned band.
Well, thank you, man. I think we were really, really lucky, to get to go on that tour and get that opportunity with Kiss. Is like, that's very much a sink or swim kind of moment. You're thrown in the deep end. It's like you got 30 minutes to try and win over a crowd that's a pretty tough crowd that Kiss has worked 50 years to get on there. And they don't know who you are, and they don't really care. It's kind of like they've paid their good money to go see Kiss, and then you start and you're not Kiss. So it's like, you got to really do your best to show them, hey, like, just give us your attention for a second. And I think, we put a lot of work into prep, the kind of month leading up to it, and we played as much as we could. And then when it came time to go out there, we tried just every night to, be a little better than the last night and read the room and just do what we do as best as we could and hope for the best. That's kind of all you can do. And very thankfully, it seems like pretty much every place, or really every place, we went over great. It was, some places are a little rowdier than others, but there wasn't a place where it didn't go over well. And so grateful for that, because that's definitely, it's a sink or swim moment. It's like, all right, you walk out and like you're naked up there with 3 other dudes and a shit ton of people watching you.
Yeah, well, like you said, even especially because when you play with most bands who open up for big, huge, giant bands, like you said, the opener, most people, when you get a chance, they're like, we don't even care about these guys. You get boos. Bands before where people were throwing stuff at them. They're like, you're not this band. We don't want to see you. So it's good to hear that they were like, hey, let's give these guys a chance.
Yeah, I'm very grateful. We never had stuff thrown at us, so that was a good starting place.
So a lot of times I ask this, but it's what the tour that you just did is kind of a pinnacle one. But if you could go on another one where you can bring 2 bands to tour with you, and they would say yes, what bands would you want to go on tour with?
That's so hard. I think there's so many acts that I could say that would be, dreams for me, for sure. And I know all the guys would have their choice. I think right now, at this exact moment in time, it would probably either have to be, like Greta Van Fleet, Arctic Monkeys, Foo Fighters, The Killers, or Green Day. I know that's like 5 and not 2, but all for different reasons. And a couple of those bands I'm massive fans of, and a couple others I like, and whatever. But I think those would be the smartest for us. I mean, I'm a diehard Killers and Green Day and Foo's fan for sure. Like, that would be incredible. And Arctic Monkeys I really love. Greta Van Fleet, I think, is doing a good job of connecting young audiences to guitar-based rock.
Yeah.
So I think it would be a really cool opportunity and a great matchup. So to me, those would be the dream ones for both the musician in me and also the, I guess the business side of things. I think that makes sense. I think those would be the smart choices.
Yeah, I could definitely see Greta Van Fleet because they're a somewhat newer band bringing the sound of an older time, and you guys are kind of like that too, where it's you're an older kind of sounding band, but you got a mix of older and newer, kind of bringing it together like them. So I could see that you guys playing with Greta and it being a really good turnout for you guys to like say, hey, this is the new generation of rock and roll, and we're just as good as the old generation.
Or Maneskin, I love them. I think they got killer songs. They look cool. They play great. Like, big fan of theirs. So but honestly, anytime we could get playing, we're down to play. So.
Speaking of that, do you have anything planned for 2024 that you can announce as of right now, or?
The best thing to do is follow us at Amber Wild Band, and we got tons and tons that we'll be announcing real soon. We got our last gig in LA this Tuesday, December 19th, and a lot of really exciting stuff in the new year. But for that, you got to follow us at Amber Wild Band and come hang. We'll tell you everything there.
Yeah, cool. Well, anything else you want to say to the fans before I let you go?
Hey, I appreciate all you guys listening. I appreciate your support. Thank you for having me. And yeah, have a great one to everyone out there. And if you don't know us, check us out.
Yeah.
Amber Wild.
Cool. Yeah. Well, hopefully, next year, if you come around this way in Baltimore, I'd like to, do this maybe one-on-one and actually get to say hi to each other in person.
Oh, that'd be awesome, man. We'd love it.
All right, cool, man. Well, you have a good rest of your day, man.
Thank you so much. You too. It's great meeting you, and I'll hopefully talk to you and see you in person soon.
All right, man. Thank you.